Are you looking for more out of your life? Do you need ideas on how to start new businesses and how to move forward in your own personal life? Well, guess what? You have come to the right radio show. At You Can Overcome Anything podcast show, you will learn and hear from many people from all walks of life who are sharing their challenges, their stories, the habits, and the mind shifts they had to overcome to become who they are today. On top, you will get a chance to connect and see how you can overcome anything by networking and learning about your next move through this radio show. I present to you our great speakers at You Can Overcome Anything podcast show with your host, Cesar R Espino. Hey, welcome back. It is your friend Cesar R Espino and your host on You Can Overcome Anything podcast show. Today I have a special guest. It is my good friend, Sean Bustard. Hey, Sean, how are you, brother?
Going on, Cesar, man? How you doing today?
I am doing good, man. Hey, let me introduce you to our listeners really quickly. So Sean, he's a father of four. He's in addict recovery for over 10 years. He's an electrician by trade, host of the Getting Started podcast show. You got to go listen to that. And founder of Your Natural Remedy Health and Wellness. And he's also learning the art and skills of NLP, which is neuro-linguistic programming. And he's a motivational speaker. And he loves Disney. So when you come down to LA, we gotta go to Disneyland for sure.
Oh yeah, man, definitely. That was what got me started on my Disney addiction, man. Disneyland was my first experience.
Yeah.
I remember walking through the gates, and I didn't really know how things worked out there. So I'm walking down Main Street, USA, and here comes Mickey Mouse leading the Mickey Mouse parade, and everybody's like cleared the street. So I'm right in the middle of the street. And I'm like, why is everybody on the sidewalk?
Right.
And here comes Mickey Mouse, walks right up to me, gives me this big old hug, and like escorts me gently to the sidewalk. I was like, I get it now. Okay. So
that's awesome, man. Yeah. So tell us a little bit about you, your background. Want to know more about your addiction recovery, because I think many people might be going through that or could relate to something like that, and maybe something can help them based on your own experience.
Yeah, man, for sure. Well, just a little bit of my backstory. I was originally born in South Carolina and moved to Tennessee when we were about 8, 9 years old, somewhere in there. And I grew up, if anyone's ever seen the show Sons of Anarchy, my early childhood and most of my formative years were a lot like that show. It was a fairly accurate description, man. There was, guns and drugs and motorcycles and just wild, crazy times. And I remember growing up, my dad was real bad. He was, all right, and I get a little bit of flack for this sometimes. My dad was a drunk. Some people like to call it an alcoholic, but to me, there's a difference between a drunk versus an alcoholic.
Okay.
And my dad was a true drunk. So I had to kind of deal with all the crap that he would bring through the house and this, that, and the other. And growing up, I decided I was never going to be a drunk. I was never going to be that guy. But because that was all I had to kind of base opinions off of, and the way my dad sort of operated our family, so to speak, we were kind of shut off from most of any other outside influences except for him and his biker buddies and stuff. So instead of becoming a drunk, I became a drug addict. I just went to the opposite side of the fence. But in my mind, it was okay because I wasn't a drunk.
Got it.
And by the time I got to high school, man, well, let's put it like this. I ended up dropping out of high school at 17. And by the time I dropped out of high school, I think the list of drugs that I hadn't done was pretty much limited to mescaline and peyote. That was about it. I got real bad into cocaine. I got real bad into methamphetamines. And for a long time, that was my definition of myself. That was my life. I was a drug addict. I was a fuck up. I apologize to anybody that doesn't like my dirty, foul language.
Yeah. Real.
But I mean, that's just how I define myself. It's how a lot of people define me. And I'd say for the better part of about, 8, 9, 10 years, I kept that downward spiral going and going and going. And once I started realizing kind of that there was more to life than that, I couldn't really put two and two together because, yeah, I understand there's more to life than that. Mm-hmm. But I was so far gone that I didn't know how to get myself there, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And eventually it came down to, I was definitely one of those that every time I would go out to use or party or something like that, I always had friends with me. I had a circle of friends around me, and we would all party together. And it got to the point where I was out, and where I live at is kind of the middle of nowhere. It's very, very country, very rural, very redneckish. Mm. And I would drive out into the middle of a cow field at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, and I would have, like half a mason jar of meth and a roll of aluminum foil in my back seat. And I'd just sit there and get completely blitzkrieged out of my mind for days. Wouldn't speak to nobody, wouldn't sleep. And finally one day I don't know if it was a sign from God, if it was just a miracle in disguise or whatever it was definitely a blessing though, because in my mind somewhere it clicked, I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired. This has got to stop. Yeah. And I remember driving myself to a rehab center. I walked in, I was still tweaking out of my head. I went to the front desk. I said, look, I'm jacked up right now. I'm going to go finish what I got. And when I come back, y'all are going to fix me. And I left. I walked out the door, and I'm sure they never thought they were going to see me again. They thought I was some crazy little crackhead.
Right.
And I did. I went out, and I finished everything that I had left. Took me about a day and a half. Made sure that my car was completely cleaned out. My person was completely cleaned out. And then I turned around, and I went back to the rehab place. And for I think it was 3 days. It seemed like a lot longer than that. Mm-hmm. I was put into a detox center. I remember scratching and clawing at the walls, scratching and clawing at myself. I had to get, first I had to come down, and then I had to go through the withdrawals. And then I started doing the rehab program, and I went through several weeks of it. And there towards the end, I started realizing that if I didn't get out of there, I was going to relapse, because I was surrounded by people who were going through the program, but none of them were clean. They was just, they were in there to make more connections or to get more clients and customers. And I'm not saying that's how all rehab facilities work. There are many of them out there that are absolutely A+ facilities with A+ programs. And if you can get into one of those, and you need to get into one of those out there, by all means, go do it.
Right.
But that's just not how the one that I went to worked out. But having always been a fairly intelligent person for the most part, I was able to take the lessons and take the
ideas or something.
The ideas to keep it within myself and to learn and build on those. Mm. And I'm not going to sit here and tell you I'm a perfect person. I had a few relapses, especially because when I decided to go to college, I decided to go live on a college campus in one of the biggest party colleges in Tennessee. Mm. And it didn't help. It's probably the worst idea for a recovering addict to go to. And I did. I fell off the horse and several different times. And it was a battle for several more years. But as of today, I'm sitting here in front of you, and I am, going on 11 years clean and sober now.
Wow, man, that's amazing, dude. That's great. So you were talking about that you label yourself, right? You were known for the addict. Did you feel like you lost your identity through that period of time? Because I know, like, sometimes for me, like, talk to a few people, is like when they're going through something like that, is like they lose their complete identity, because at that point it's like, well, I'm just that label, right? And you start labeling yourself. And then part of that too is, you mentioned, you had some friends that they also had a positive or negative influence on things that you were doing when you were doing the drugs.
Yeah, man. I never really had a ton of money, but I did have a buddy of mine who was getting a good massive check every month from just different issues he'd had in the past, and his dad being a war veteran and then passing away, he got a nice big check every month. So he was always one affording everything. I had another good friend of mine that, he provided the house for us all to party at all the time. And once I decided to get clean, I realized to fully get clean, I had to get away from all those friends. And I did. That's exactly what I did. I took off and I moved about an hour and a half away from home, which granted to some people doesn't seem like a whole lot. But when the majority of your circle of friends are used to being stuck in this one little small town and they don't leave this little small town because they are truly afraid of the outside world, they didn't come to visit me very much. Matter of fact, I think I had 2 friends from my original inner circle of friends come up and visit me while I was living in the college town. And they were there for a very short amount of time and they were gone again. Yeah. And then, of course, I built another circle of friends while I was living in the college town that I kept partying with. And when I finally made that ultimate choice that I was done, I wasn't going back to that lifestyle, I literally left again. And I went to my parents' house, told my parents what was going on, and they had a camper set up in their backyard. And that's what I moved into. I moved into this little, 25-foot camper for about a year and a half. And sorry, my kids are in here hollering at me.
Yeah, no, that's cool, man.
Hey, I will fix it later, honey. Right now, y'all go play with something else.
Yeah, but where's our other pool?
Go play with something else.
But the only thing I'm going to play is the pool.
Well, it's too cold water to play in the pool right now, son.
Now, we just have a finger on that.
Y'all go inside and play for right now. I love y'all. Yeah, I had to just get away from everybody, so I moved to this little camper in my parents' backyard, and I went into like Hobbit mode. Right. I didn't speak to nobody. I didn't try to form any relationships. I had a massive score of books to read, and I had my PlayStation. Yeah. And that's what it took for me to really get clean. Was I just had to stay away from everybody. I had to be. Well, I think when I'd fully gotten clean, and I could start telling the difference in just the way I was acting. And I remember my parents coming to me and saying, "Hey, thanks for bringing our son back."
Yeah.
And that was a very profound moment for me because, like, well, I've always been your son, and it took me a while to really process what that meant to them.
Right.
And once I did, that really it all started clicking for me, and I started kind of just building from that. And man, I gotta tell you, it's one of the roughest battles I've ever done in my life.
Yeah, I bet.
But I wouldn't change it for the world.
Right. Well, I was to say that there's lessons and experience to be learned from that, right?
Oh, yeah, definitely, man. And it especially being a father now, it helps me because, like, having done all these crazy, wild things, I know the signs, I know what to look for, and I'll be able to tell if my kids get into it, and maybe I can, cut them off before it gets bad, and possibly even cut them off before they even get started on something.
Right.
And it's a lot of, your sphere of influence and your environment does play a huge factor into that. And if you come from that kind of background and that sort of circle where you don't have a lot of options, and the only real, I'm not going to say success, because even the drug dealers out here aren't really successful idols to look up to. They're all cracked out themselves with, maybe 2 teeth left and just weird crap like that. But, they're the ones that you look at, and they're the ones that are having fun. Yeah. They're the ones that seem to be enjoying life. And that's what we all wanted. We all wanted to enjoy life. And that is really the ultimate goal in life, is to find something that you enjoy and love it and do it with a passion.
Yeah.
So I was fortunate to be able to get away from those circumstances and to get away from those people. And don't get me wrong, I still, there's a place in my heart for all those old friends of mine. But I've reached a point in my life where, I don't talk to probably 95, 98% of those friends anymore because I can't.
Right.
They didn't want to make that next step to grow and to get better. And, I know there's a good chunk of those friends are sitting in jail right now. There's another chunk of them that have passed away, rest their souls. But, yeah, man, it comes down to, I want to say willpower, but that's not even the right word.
It comes down to a choice, right?
It's a choice.
Right.
It's a choice, and then it's a consistent effort to just get better every day.
Right.
And that's really what it comes down to.
Well, then that's what happened with you. I mean, do you trying to, or not necessarily trying, you actually did it. You deciding that you had enough and you're not going to deal with this, you're not going to go through this anymore. That was the choice you made. And although you had some relapse and things to that nature, you continue to be persistent and continue to push forward and again, become a better person, through that process, right? And that's where a lot of people, I think, end up giving up, is that they see it so hard that they end up just not following through, right? A lot of times we want things that are easy, and whether it's drugs or whether it's eating bad food, whether it's cheating on my spouse or whatever the case may be, the thing that might seem easy is going to cost you a lot more at the end than the stuff that's hard, right? And you were able to recognize that, which is pretty awesome. So,
yeah, man. And that's what it is. A lot of people are looking for that easy, quick fix. And that's kind of what's helped me out with what I call my adult life, I guess, which didn't really start until I was about 27, 28, maybe, somewhere in that range. Because I spent so long looking for that quick fix and looking for that, quote unquote, get rich quick scheme, even whether it was, whether it involved money or whatever it was. I've learned now that anything worth having, anything that is, worthwhile, that you will truly treasure and truly love, doesn't happen quick. It does not happen overnight.
Yeah.
It takes time, and you have to learn to trust and love and enjoy the process behind it all before you truly get the results that you're looking for.
Right. Yeah, no, definitely. I totally agree with that. And so was there anything else that really said, you know what, I cannot do this? Or it was just like, again, like you said, it was some sort of, God divine or something just came to your mind and said, you know what, enough is enough? Or was there any other influences that helped you with that?
I don't know, man. I was about 22, 23, somewhere in there, maybe 24. And it was just like, I was done, man. I had played myself. I'd played every hand in the deck. I had come up short every time.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just finally sick and tired, I guess, of really playing by other people's rules. And that's kind of how it was. If I wanted to get, this or that, I had to wait till the dealer could call me back, or I had to wait till the dealer got home, and this, that, and the other. And I'm not going to say I really had any kind of influences to pull me out of that, because I didn't. I started looking at everybody. I knew, and this kind of goes back to even when I was a kid, before I ever got on drugs or anything like that. I always had this idea in my head that I was meant for greatness, that I was always destined to do big things, to do great things. And I guess maybe it was part of that coming back to me. I was just looking around at everybody that I knew and everybody that I was hanging out with, and none of them were even attempting to do great things, man. And
yeah,
I wanted more out of life. And at that point, I was willing to do whatever it took to get more out of life, which is actually what led me into, in a roundabout way, getting into electrical school and becoming an electrician, was because, man, I'd bounce from job to job, and you name it, I've done it, man. Fast food, factory, warehouse, construction, physical labor, mowing yards, raking grass, dude, you name it, I've probably done it.
Right.
I don't know that there's an actual fast food chain anywhere that I haven't worked for.
Yeah. Wow. So yeah, it came down to the point that you were trying to, again, enough is enough. You were finding that stability more than anything. I think it was coming down to, how can I get stable, and then how can I become a better person moving forward, which you've done now, and you're working on that. So I wanna hear about your podcast. What are you trying to accomplish there? I know you're growing your YouTube business, which is pretty awesome. And then also your NLP, right? I mean, that's something that is pretty awesome. So tell me about your podcast.
All right, man. Yeah, the Getting Started podcast, man. It was and this is kind of one of those things that came from all those past experiences, man. Because I've always felt that pull to do great things. I know there's other people out there that have done the same thing. And I know that I work with guys because, like I said, I'm an electrician by trade. That's currently my day job. That's what I do on a day-to-day basis. I mean, I talked to so many guys, and they work in different trades, you know, welders and HVAC guys and landscapers and this, that, and the other. And they want to do more, but they're stuck, man. They have no idea what's out there that they can do. They have no idea what's out there that they even want to do. And that's what happens when you get into this, you know, daily 9-to-5 routine of get up, go to work, get up, go to work. So I started the podcast just to kind of show, because once I started my journey of bettering myself and getting into the world of starting my own business and getting onto the journey of entrepreneurship, I started kind of thinking like, well, how can I get other people to see this the way I'm seeing it? Because the way I'm seeing it, while, yeah, it's kind of biased in my own eyes because I have to look at it with my own experience, my own vision, there are other people that could benefit from the things that I'm learning and from the things that I have picked up from, you know, business owners or, you know, marketers or this, that, or whatever it is. And so I started the podcast to start empowering those people. You know, anybody that's out there working the 9-to-5 blue collar, what I call slave life, they need to, you know, go check out the podcast and listen, because I'm bringing messages of how anybody can do this. I want to empower everybody listening to the show that I don't care if you're working 9-to-5 at a construction company. I don't care if you're working the, you know, graveyard shift at Walmart, or if you're working, you know, the nighttime shift at a fast food place or any kind of restaurant. It's all about getting started, and it's never too late to get started, and there's never a wrong time to get started.
Right.
Just so long as you take that first step to get started. You know, everybody says that the journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. Well, this show is about getting everybody to take that first step. You know, empowering people to take that first step, because once you take that first step, you're more inclined to take a second step and a third step and a fourth step and so on and so forth, and building on that momentum as you gain more momentum.
Right.
And that's exactly what I've done, man. You know, I first got into this. I reached out to a few different people and was able to get in, you know, some fairly good circles. You know, that's how you and I met up, you know, through our buddy Sid.
Yep.
And when I first started, man, I wanted to be a digital marketer. And it was only because I had looked and seen that digital marketers make 6 figures a year and all the flash and pizzazz that goes with it. And no, go inside, son. And, you know, I started digging into it, and I bought a couple of programs and courses. And that's when I realized I was not ready. I had no idea what I was getting into. And so I had to take a step back, sort of look at what was going on. And that's what's actually led me into, you know, I started the podcast. I've moved the podcast onto YouTube as well. So anybody that, you know, is, you know, and as you know as well as I do, that different people learn in different ways. You got your audio learners, you got your video learners, you got your people that learn by feeling.
Yep.
So just through the podcast alone, I was only reaching, you know, like maybe 10% of people. So that's why I moved it into the YouTube platform, because YouTube being the second most search engine in the world, I can hit the video learners with that, the visual learners.
Right.
Which that's another 40% of the population. Plus also by sitting there and watching me do these different interviews, you know, like, you know, I had you on the show, you were an amazing guest, had other amazing guests. And you can, even through the visual aspect of it, you can sort of get a feeling and a vibe from those different guests. And that, you know, that's a whole different style of learning in and of itself too.
Right.
So that adds just another, you know, 30-40% of, you know, people trying to learn. So I'm trying to get this message out there to as many people as possible and get it on as many platforms as possible, because the more people I can reach, the more lives I can change. And the more lives I can change, the more people in this world can see that there's more to life than just, you know, wake up, go to work, come home, eat dinner, go to sleep, die.
Yeah. And there's a bigger purpose than just that. I mean, I really love that. And that's something that I think is really amazing. And I don't know if the people that are listening or watching this caught on to that message, except I want to emphasize more what you just said. And part of that is that you're working on yourself every day, and you're going through this transition. You're still working the 9-to-5, yet you're still coming home and doing the podcast or doing some stuff on YouTube or doing something now with NLP. And there's really no excuse to say, well, I work 9-to-5, or I'm working graveyard, I'm working late nights, or whatever the case may be. If you want to become better, you have the ability to become better, because we all have the same amount of hours. The second thing is, you know, that you're doing is not only are you helping yourself, yet you're helping a lot of people by empowering them and giving them all of these ideas, giving them, material that they can use in their own lives. So you're helping people succeed. And Zig Ziglar said, if you help enough people get what they want, you get what you want. And that's exactly what you're doing. And sometimes people say, well, there might be, I guess, they don't want to help out other people, or they do not want to do things for other people because they feel like they're not helping themselves, which is on the reverse side. You are by doing that. And that's exactly what you're doing. You're doing different things, even through your 9-to-5, even through all these things you're going through, so that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, man. And that was one of my biggest excuses for a long time was I just don't have time. I just don't have time. Especially I have, 4 kids, a wife who she's been out of work for the last year pending a back surgery. So, she's dealing with the kids all day long while I'm at work. So when I get home from work, it's kind of, my turn, my responsibility to kind of take over and sort of help out with the kids. And for years, that was kind of my excuse was I don't have time to do this. I don't have time to do that. If you want it bad enough, you'll make the time.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to sit here and, lie to anybody. There's times when I piss my wife off. I mean, absolutely get her stark raving mad where she don't talk to me. It happens. Grant, I love her. She loves me. I know she loves me. And she knows that I love her. But there are times when I have her so mad that she can't see anything but red. And it's because I'm putting in that time to, learn new things, to grow in different areas, and to try to soak up as much knowledge as possible. And I'm trying to implement the knowledge that I'm learning, because you can learn everything in the world, but without implementing it, you're not going to go nowhere with it.
Right.
And, we have fights about it. And I do my best to be present in the moments that count.
Mm-hmm.
And, when I've got a few extra minutes, I run out to the garage and I do a, quick Facebook Live video, or I'll go, driving in my truck on the way home from work, man, I'm recording podcast episodes. Or, like if I've got an interview to do, I'll come home and I'll just immediately jump on the computer and I'll have the kids go off into their bedroom for a while, and I'll do my podcast interview, takes me about, 45 minutes to an hour.
Mm-hmm.
And then, I'll save it back and I'll go back in on the weekend, because being part of that, getting up every day at 4:00 in the morning, when the weekend comes, I'm still up every day at 4:00 in the morning. So,
yeah.
Before anybody wakes up, dude, I'm on there on the computer, just ticky-tack, editing videos and editing, mixing the sound right, getting everything set up right, and getting everything ready to go. Right now, honey, maybe in a little while. And I'm just, I'm putting in the time that I can make.
Right.
And it's about making more time. I mean, I think Steve Harvey said it best. Nobody needs 8 hours of sleep. That's a third of your damn life.
Yeah.
Why the hell do you want to sleep away a third of your life?
Yeah.
Get up, make something happen. Ed Milet has a routine where he takes a single day and he breaks it up into 3 days. His first day starts at 6:00 in the morning when he wakes up, and from 6:00 till 12:00, that's his first day. And then from 12:00 to 6:00, well, that's his second day. And then from 6 p.m. at night to 12 p.m. at night, that's his third day. And then he goes to sleep for a couple hours.
Wow.
And I wish I could time crunch that well. I really do, man.
You know what?
I don't know.
Yeah, I know. And it's hard. I mean, obviously, even me with my own journeys, like I'm trying to, do that. And I'm not an early morning person. So, it's kind of difficult for me. I can go to sleep later. Like I go to sleep at 12, 12:30, 1 o'clock, whether I'm working on something, same like you, either editing videos or just doing things that I'm working on in my entrepreneurial life. Waking up, though, is the hard part. And I try to force myself to wake up at 6, 6:30, 7. Because, again, I do realize the same thing, right? I think that, if I can get a little bit more time, and again, I cannot borrow more time other than what I have. And I have 24 hours. So I have to be able to utilize those 24 hours to the best of my capability. And so the only way to do it is, what can I do today that, one, I can get more time of my own? Number two, how can I, bring more value on the things that I'm doing so that I can empower more people, right? And then number three is just continue to be persistent, right? And so those are some of the things that I take into, but it's not easy for sure.
Yeah, man. And, it takes time, it takes practice, and, It's just something you got to do. And, you know, if you want it bad enough, you'll make it happen.
Right. And so with your transformation and the things that you're going through, what are some of the habits or things that you do maybe, or you did, or you're doing on a daily basis, or however that worked out for you, that helped you with this transformation?
Man, just constantly learning, man. Stepping out of my comfort zone, doing things that I'm not used to doing. Like live videos is something I was never used to doing.
Yeah.
It's just the little things, man. Like I said, I get up, you know, on the weekends every morning about 4:30, and I put in that time to make things happen. Usually about once a week. Well, probably 2 to 3 times a week, really. You know, I'm blocking out an hour every night, or not every night, but, you know, about 3 nights a week, to where I get on a Zoom call with, you know, different masterminds and learn. Because when you get into a mastermind and you sit with, you know, all these other people, and you have that one conscious mind, like that group mind, your possibilities just start to expand exponentially. And that's something that, unless you've done it and really done it, you don't really understand, and it's hard to explain to other people. And it's like you said, you brought to the NLP, man. I've spent the last 3 days in a massive group mastermind with about 20 different people, learning different techniques and different practices of NLP. And you know, there's a lot of haters out there that they, you know, write NLP off as brainwashing or manipulation or hypnosis or whatever, and it's got, you know, a bunch of bad connotations and stuff that goes with it. But man, the tools of NLP are just so powerful. Like, I was a rabid Mountain Dew drinker, man, for years. That was like, to me, that was the nectar of the gods. And one of the techniques that I learned, I was, in my mind, I have replaced the taste and the smell of Mountain Dew with dirty, nasty-ass pond water. And it was so powerful that, hey, you two, go over there. It was so powerful that after the technique was done and over, I could taste the pond water in my mouth.
Yeah.
And I went to go try to take a drink from Mountain Dew, and I just as a reflex, I spit it right back out. I couldn't handle it no more.
Wow, yeah.
And then I went to my parents last night, and my mom was drinking a Mountain Dew. I was like, I'm just curious. So I uncapped the bottle. I took just a whiff of it. I didn't even put it in my mouth. I just took a whiff of it with my nose, and it smells like dirty pond water now, man. So the fact that was able to do that for me, I know this can help, you know, millions of people across the world.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. It's definitely very powerful. And man, that whole NLP, and again, for those of you that don't know what's NLP, is neuro-linguistic programming. And it's really a very unique way to tap into the unconscious mind and, you know, provide, I mean, use it for good, right? And you use it for only good, which in my opinion is, you got to put the right type of programs into that unconscious mind so that it can start working with the conscious mind and then get the results that you want, right? And so, that's very powerful to have, a skill to have. And not only that, just to be able to help other people. Like you said, the things that it can do for you, imagine what it can do for other people and how you can really empower people on that. And that's one thing that really I appreciate about you is that, again, even when you're 9 to 5, you're still working on your craft. You're still working on learning. You're still working on doing a lot of great things. And I think that the listeners have to realize that, again, if you want it bad enough, as you mentioned, you can go out and get it, right? You can go out and get it. And even with this, I think it was Les Brown said this, it's better to be prepared for an opportunity and not have one than have an opportunity and not be prepared. So some of the things you're doing is you're preparing yourself for that opportunity. Because if it shows up today and you don't know what to do, it's like you just lost that opportunity, right?
Absolutely, man. And that's one thing, you know, this, especially with the whole quarantine going on right now, man, because at the time of this recording, we're still going through the coronavirus and the COVID-19 pandemic. Anyone out there right now who's not working, who has been quarantined and told to stay at home, has a golden opportunity to create a better life for themselves. Mm-hmm. This is the time where we need to be learning new skills. We need to be stepping out of our comfort zones to try to learn something that we've never done before. And that was part of me with the whole NLP was, now granted, I requested my time off from work back months ago. Mm-hmm. But I spent the last 3 days, you know, diving into this NLP. And, I've experienced that transformation now. And in doing that, it, shows me that everybody out there can be doing this. I don't care if you have spent the last 10 years working in an office building, working at a desk job, and you're stuck at home right now because of the quarantine, there's no reason you shouldn't be online learning how to be a marketer, or learning how to do some form of sales, or learning how to, start, find whatever it is that you truly love to do. Whatever it is that you have a hobby of right now, go out and find out how to make that hobby your life. And I understand you have to work day jobs to provide for your families, to provide for yourselves. Nothing in life is free. But right now, most people are sitting at home collecting the paycheck from the whatever act it was that got passed that's keeping people getting paid right now. Mm-hmm. So they don't have that worry. All they have right now is time. And anyone who does not come out of this quarantine with some sort of a new skill has, in my mind, wasted every single bit of that time. Yeah. And I hate to say it that way. I know it's a very negative way to say it, but it's the truth. There's no reason why you can't come out of this quarantine with a new skill and something new to better your life with.
Yeah, or just some sort of reinvention, something you did, like something different than you haven't done, right? I just did a live video about 2 days ago or 3 days ago, and I was talking exactly about that, and I want to kind of take your opinion on this. And I was talking about there's two kinds of people. There's the people, and this actually kind of leans back to also the NLP practice and understanding the NLP. There's two kinds of people. One kind of person is those people that are playing the victim role, right? They're victimized because of the circumstances, the society, the coronavirus, whatever you call it, right? One thing though to realize though is that this coronavirus is affecting every single soul in this world somehow, directly or indirectly. Everybody's getting affected by it. So nobody can say that you're the only one getting it, or it's just me, right? Like, why did I have to lose my job? Why did I have to be quarantined? Why did I have to go through this? Whatever the case may be. So there, anyways, that's that one side of the person is the victim. The other side of the person is people that are also in the same situation as we are, or everybody in the current times, victimized through the coronavirus or whatnot. However, they chose not to be a victim. They chose to better themselves. They chose to do something with this time. They chose to create a new skill, right? And I said to myself, the question I was asking is, which person do you want to be? Do you want to be the victim and just keep playing that role and do nothing about it? Or know that what's going on is not only happening to you, except to everybody else, and do something about it and become better than that, than your current situation. I choose to be that second person, right? That side of the coin. And I think that's what we have right now is only those two kind of people right now. Again, why not take the opportunity to not be the victim, be the victor, and then continue to move forward, right?
Absolutely, man. And that's how it is. I mean, that's the current life that we've got. That's the times that we're in right now. And it's a golden opportunity for everybody around the world.
Right.
So.
Yeah, nobody's getting less or more. It's all the same, apparently, unfortunately. So let me ask you a couple of last questions for you. What is one of the next things you're planning to do? Obviously, you have the NLP. You have a wellness program too, or company. What are some of your next moves?
Right now, man, I'm fixing to go pretty much all in on the NLP. That's something that I'm working with my mentor Tiffany Toombs on. Mm-hmm. That's kind of my big goal right now, is continuing to build on that, continue to grow that. Obviously, continue with the podcast and growing the podcast, and also I've got 2 YouTube channels. I've got the podcast on YouTube, and I've also got a family YouTube channel where my kids watch all these crazy vlogs. And that's something they wanted to do. So I was like, you know what? Hey, let's start this family YouTube channel. So we got that going now too. And, my goal is that within the next 6 months to be out of my day job, to be full-time, being able to, do the coaching business, to do the NLP business, and to spend, all the time that I'll get back from not having to do a 9-to-5 day job, I can put back into my family, man.
Yeah.
And that's my main goal at the time. Aside from that, man, loving my life, man. Living and loving my life. That's kind of become a big deal to me, especially because I spent so long hating almost every aspect of my life except for like my kids.
Yeah.
That's pretty much what I got going on. The wellness business, man, it's kind of on hold at the moment. We're dealing with we've been back and forth with some manufacturing things going on. As soon as I got that back up and running, I'll definitely send you a link and let you know what's going on with that. So, other than that, it's just day by day, step by step, man.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. So, yeah, definitely you guys have to make sure to check out the YouTube channels and the podcasts and all the good stuff. And, Sean, if people wanted to connect with you, where can they connect with you?
Definitely find me on Facebook. You can look me up under Facebook. What is this? I don't even know the address number. Just find me on Facebook, Sean Bustard.
Yeah.
You can find me on Instagram at the Sean Bustard. Those are the two big platforms I'm on for the most part. Obviously, you can find me on YouTube, either the Sean Bustard or the Getting Started podcast. The podcast is currently on iHeartRadio, Spotify, iTunes, Google Podcasts, all that good stuff.
Awesome.
If you do check out the show, definitely hop on there and leave me a written review, 5-star review. It helps me grow the show more. It helps me get it out to more people.
Yep.
You can check out the family YouTube channel at Rugrat Wild on YouTube. Also, same on Instagram, Rugrat Wild. Or you can go to www.rugratwild.com. It'll take you straight to the YouTube channel.
Nice.
Those are the biggest places to find me right now, man.
Yeah, and I'll definitely have all that information here for the listeners to check you out. So my last question for you is, and you've given us a lot of great tips, by the way. If you can give us one last tip on how anyone right now listening to this can overcome anything in their life, what would that be?
Oh, man, that's a good question. Get started. Just go out and get started. It doesn't matter what you start with or what you start on or even how you start. I can't tell you the number of companies that have gotten, and I'm talking big corporate companies that have gotten started. It took them 15 times to get it right. But they just never, they got started and they never gave up. And those would be the two biggest pieces of advice I can give is get started. And then once you get started, just don't stop. And I could have stopped, 6 months ago when, like my podcast had 2 listeners. My YouTube channel had 0 views, 0 likes. I wasn't getting any engagement whatsoever on Facebook. But I just kept going. I kept pushing. And now, I get all kinds of engagement on Facebook. I get all kinds of different views and listens on my podcast, both on YouTube and on iTunes. And I was able to rank my family's first YouTube video. We were on the first page of Google and in the top 3 search for treasure hunt on YouTube within just a matter of about 12 hours.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So, yeah, that's my advice, man. Just get started. And once you get started, don't stop. It's okay to fail. It's okay to fuck up. Everybody's going to do it. Just make sure that when you fall down, when you get knocked on your ass, that you get back up.
Right.
Don't let a little, backslide stop everything you're working on, everything you're working for, and everything that you want to be. There's no reason to stop once you get started.
Yeah, and when you fall down, that keep in mind that's a lesson. Evaluate that and see what you can learn from that, and then reinvent it. Right? Change the frame, and just keep going and keep pushing.
Yeah, and Thomas Edison said it best. When he invented the light bulb, everybody's like, "Well, yeah, you failed 10,000 times." No, I didn't fail 10,000 times. I found 9,999 ways that didn't work.
Yeah,
but I did find the one that worked.
Right, and that's what counts. That's exactly what counts. Man, Sean, I really had a great time, brother. I really enjoyed our conversation here. And, once again, thank you for coming onto the show and really having you here, man.
Thanks for having me, Cesar, man. It's been an absolute pleasure to be with you, brother.
Yeah, definitely. And for the rest of you guys, please do me a favor. Check us out on YouTube. Check us out on Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, all different platforms. Leave us a comment, a review, and make sure you check out the next interviews coming up. See you next time. Bye.
Hi, I'm Cesar Espino, real estate investor, business coach, and consultant, and author of the book, You Can Overcome Anything Even When the World Says No. My number is 424-501-6046. In my book, I talk about making the necessary changes to shift your mind for prosperity and certainty. Pick up your copy at Amazon. I also love helping families with their real estate and can purchase your house fast and all cash. Follow me on Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn. My number is 424-501-6046.
Thank you for having me today. I am so glad you tuned in to this podcast. You can find me at Spreaker.com, where you can like and subscribe. And to learn more about myself and my services, you can find me at www.CesarRespino.com, or you can also find me at Facebook under Cesar R Espino. Once again, thanks for joining me. I am looking forward to having you at the next episode, and know that you truly can overcome anything.